Hello, Dr. Liz. How are you?
Hello, Rav. How are you? How are you, Rav? Shavua Tov.
Baruch Hashem, Shavua Tov U'Mvorach. How are you?
Baruch Hashem. All good.
How's the weather?
Hello, Rolf. How are you?
Yeah.
Hello, Louis. How are you?
I'm fine,
Hello.
thank you.
Who's else with us? Oh, Marky with us. Marky,
Rob.
who else with us?
Marky.
Marky with us. Who else with us? Lionel with us. Frank Seleman with us. Isaac's with us. Sean with us. Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful. Dr. Liz, give us the news.
Okay, so there's some nice news. If I had to ask you all, what is the national bird of Israel? So, yeah. So how about the crane? Rob, how about the crane? Because you see, wherever you go, they're building and you always see the crane. So that's like the joke here, it's the crane. But what's very interesting, and this is the latest news here, is that Israeli technology, they are thinking of replacing workers on a construction site with computers and to have it digitalized. And they say in Israel, every year, there's roughly about 40, unfortunately, construction workers that die because of accidents and people who work the cranes. They've got a very intensive job and they have to keep watching and they have to bend over. So if this could all be digitalized and they're working on it, they say in America, there's about 5,300 workers on construction sites that die every year. So this is an Israeli innovation to try and to have a construction site where it's very safe, but there won't be, it will be able to be operated, remotely, which is unbelievable. It's something only Israel could think of, such a most amazing, the thought of it, but it's really incredible because it will prevent any fatalities. And they think that eventually the prices of construction will decrease. Because here in Israel, the cost of living is really high. The government today, they actually just said that they're going to do everything in their power, and I hope they do, to decrease the cost of living. So housing is enormously expensive here. So if this can decrease the cost of housing, it will be an amazing positive development.
Sure. Bezrat Hashem. Bezrat Hashem. That's very good news, Dr. Les.
Always one
Very
good
good news. Thank you. I see Stephen joining us. Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you for joining us, Stephen, Mr. Edler.
Was a mistake.
Mistake. Mr. Edler, how are you? Are you all well, dude?
Thank God.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. It's so good to see you all with us. Okay, Rabotai, so we're going to start the show. I'm going to mute everyone. Marky, don't forget to unmute yourself, and I'll tell you when I need you to read it. Okay. So, good evening, everyone. I would like, first of all, to dedicate the show in honor of Esther Kadem Bat Ketzia, Mordechai Ben Rahma, Harav Avraham Haim Ben Eliezer Yaakov, Tamar Bat Zehava, Rachel Bat Malka Sultana, Yaakov Salomon Ben Farha, Dvorah Ruth Bat Beila, Haim Eliyahu Ben Yeshayahu, Eliyahu David Ben Avraham, Hashem Yinkom Damo, ומלכה Regina Bat Joya. נשמתם תהיה צרורה בצור החיים. Also, I would like to dedicate the show in health of Liora Bat Miriam, Menashe Naji Ben Farha, Orna Bluma Bat Miriam, Harav Avraham Ben Marina, Harav Shlomo Yehuda Ben Dalia, Harav Moshe Ben Devora, Eitan Gabriel Ben Shulamit Aviva, Avraham David Ben Sarah Gitol, Devora Bat Esther, Bracha Bat Malka, Tzadok Ben Sarah, Shulamit Bat Haya Sheina Lea, Sarah Rivka Bat Yehudit, Mariahu Ben Batya, Sheina Keila Bat Hana, Mordechai David Ben Lea, Leva Kohen Ben Elisheva. Linda, you sent me a message. Sorry, I couldn't read it. Give me the name. Unmute yourself. Give me the name.
Shiva Bat Liba.
Shiva Bat Liba. Please, God,
Elisheva. Bat
yes.
Liba.
Bat Liba, please God.
And also, Rav, somebody else, Miriam Bat Zelda Liba.
Miriam Bat Zelda Liba, please God, רפואה שלמה to all of them, ולכל חולי ופצועי עמו ישראל בכל מקום שהם. Tonight we're going to speak about the incense. Incense was a korban, and we're going to explain to him. Funny enough, this coming week, Parashat Ki Tisa, they will speak about the incense, the Parashat HaKorbanot, we call it. What does it mean? Pitum HaKetoret. Be'ezrat Hashem, tonight, we'll try to introduce how important is Ketoret, Pitum HaKetoret. That means the spices. So where is the source for it? The source for it, as I mentioned, come from Sefer Shmot, Parashat Ki Tisa, in chapter 30, verse 34. There the Torah speak about the spices that the Kohen Gadol have to sacrifice once a year in Kodesh HaKodashim, and every day the Kohen, that's not the Kohen Gadol, that's a normal Kohen, have to do the spices. And we'll explain everything. The other source within in the Talmud and Masechet Keritut in page 6, folio 1, there the Torah tell us that actually there the Hazal bringing the Braita. What is a Braita? Braita is a Mishnah. That's all. It's a Mishnah. It's a Mishnah that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi never brought inside the Mishnayot. For some reason, he didn't see it so important, or whatever other reason, that he didn't think that it really belonged there. So what is he done? What is he done? He brought, he put them outside, but the Braita come in a Gemara. And that way it say, that's what is a Braita. And what are the 11 spices? The 11 spices here, and now, Mr. Schenker, I need you, I'm going to read them in Hebrew, and then you're going to read the 11 spices in English. They are Hachiri, Hachiporen, Hahelbena, Levona, Moruktia, Shibolet Nered, Ve-Charkum, Hakoshet, Klofa, Kinamon.
Number one, first is Stector, Onica, Galbanum, frankincense, myrrh, cassia, spikenard, saffron, costus, aromatic bark, cinnamon, kashina lye. Well, I think that's it.
That's it, yeah. Kinamon. Yeah. So those are the 11 spices. And the Hazal explained to us during the time of Bet HaMikdash, they used to take all of those 11 spices, they used to mix it together, and with that, they used to bring the sacrifice that's called Korban HaKetoret. And they used to sacrifice it, funny enough, on Mizbeach HaZahav, the golden altar, okay? And they used to sacrifice twice a day, once in the morning, and one Ben HaArbaim, between midday and midnight. That's when they used to bring. The Kohen Gadol, as I explained earlier, used to do it once a year, the Korban HaKetoret, and he used to sacrifice on Yom Kippur, and he used to enter that to Holy of Holiness. That's that he used to do, the Kohen Gadol. The Gemara in Masechet Yoma, in 26 folio 1, Hazal tell us that every Kohen that used to sacrifice the Ketoret used to become rich. Immediately, he become very rich. And that we'll see later on, where does it come, all of those virtue and how does it fit. Therefore, Hazal tell us in the Gemara in Masechet Yoma, in page 26, folio 1, that they used to do, funny enough, a lottery, okay, every day. Who's gonna bring the sacrifice of the spices? Not only that, Hazal in a Braita tell us there, okay, that Hazal teach us in a Braita, that they used to do the lottery twice a day. Why? Because it was one Kohen in the morning and one Kohen, different Kohen in the between between day and night. That's mean what we call it the Ben Arbaim. Ben Arbaim is just before sunset, in the time of davening mincha. And Hazal tell us why did they used to do the lottery? That the Kohen that already served the spices can never do it anymore. Why? So he can be rich. Now, if they wouldn't do a lottery, people will take it personally and they say, how come I didn't have a chance to do it? So they used to do lottery. Listen to that. In Talmud Yerushalmi, in Masechet Yoma, in chapter 2, law number 3, Hazal explaining that also that Kohen that used to bring the pen to put the spicy inside used to become rich from it. Not only that, Hazal in the Gemara in Masechet Yoma in page 39, folio 2, telling us that the string of that spices was so strong that when they used to sacrifice the korban haketoret, the sacrifice of the ketoret, okay, the smell used to be so strong that the goat in Jericho used to sneeze from it. Also, Hazal tell us that every bride that used to get married in Jerusalem never used to put a perfume. Didn't need to put a perfume. Why? Because the strength of the korban haketoret was so strong that she didn't even need to put a perfume because no one will smell it. So we see from here, we're learning that korban haketoret have a lot of beautiful things. And we'll get to the virtue just now. So that was during the time that Bet HaMikdash was exist and everything was Baruch Hashem okay at that time. But after the destruction, what happened? Because we can't sacrifice anymore the korban haketoret, the spices. Hazal constitute for us to say in Shahrit, okay, while we're saying the korbanot, to say the spices. And we'll see later on that it's not only on Shahrit, there is Shahrit, we'll see that there's different minhagim be'ezrat Hashem. And we'll see why did they constitute for us to say the spices, okay? Now I would like to move to a different level there, the virtue of the spices, the korban haketoret. Hazal in a Gemara in Masechet Shabbat in page 88, folio 2 and 89, folio 1. Listen to that. Hazal tell us something extraordinary. That when Moshe Rabbeinu gone up to heaven to bring down the Holy Torah, okay, he needed to give him the angel an answer. How come that he can take the Holy Torah that was 974 generations before he came, and now we want to bring it down to earth, to a human being, to the nation of Israel. And when Moshe Rabbeinu answered them, Hazal tell us in the Gemara that all the angels, every different angel that was in heaven, not only that thanks him, giving him each one a present. Not only that, even the angel of death giving him a present. What is the present? It's not physical present. Hazal explained there that the angel of death revealed to him a secret. Listen to that. That in a time that there is a difficult or bad decrees on the Jewish people, there's tragedy happen, plagues in the world, he should say Petom HaKetoret, people should say Petom HaKetoret, in that time they say that you should sacrifice, and that will change the decree that there is on a Jewish people. So that means that the virtue of the korban haketoret, that what we call the spice or the incense, that can change bad decree on a human being. Any bad decree, any tragedy, it can avoid any tragedy, any plagues that come into the world, if we say it. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, now I'm jumping to the Zohar, in Parashat Vayakhel, the Zohar HaKadosh, in Parashat Vayakhel, okay, in page Reshut Het, that means 218, folio 2. Chazal tell us there that the importance of saying Parashat HaKetoret. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said that if human being would know the importance and the virtue of saying Ketoret every day, they will never skip it in the morning, because many people skip it in the morning when they daven. But the important is so important that they would take every word, and from that they will make a crown to themselves. Because the Parashat HaKetoret is so strong that it can do absolutely miracle. And we say that Parashat HaKetoret can avoid, as Chazal tell us in the Gemara and Masechet Shabbat, page 88, folio 2, 89, folio 1, Chazal say that it can save the Jewish people from plague. Where do we see it? Chazal tell us in Sefer Bamidbar in Parashat Korach, and we all know the sad story with Korach and his followers in chapter 17 and verse 13. There Chazal tell us that when the plague started and people start dying, what happened? Immediately Aaron HaKohen ran with the spices, and he stood between those that was alive to those that was dead. And that happened also when it happened also, Rabotai, in the golden calf, that Aaron stopped the plague. So it's the power of that korban that call the spices or the incense is to save the people from the punishment of death. Rabbi Chaim Palagi born in the city of Izmir in Turkey. He born around 234 years ago. He wrote a book, Ruach Haim. In his book, Ruach Haim, in page 130, no, in chapter 132, verse 4, listen what he said, that a person that read Parashat HaKetoret on a scroll that been written Bektav Ashuri, what it means, Ktav Ashuri? Ktav Ashuri is the same letters that we write the Torah, it's a bit different to the Hebrew letters. It's a segula for richness, and his business going to be succeeded. That when a person take the spices, okay, that parsha, and he read the parsha of the incense on a scroll with the Ktav Ashuri, okay, that's the same way that we write the Sefer Torah. It's a remedy for prosperity. And not only that, that his business will be successful. Chazal tell us in Midrash HaNe'elam, listen to that. In Midrash HaNe'elam, Chazal tell us that in the power of reading the incense every morning, and we'll see that's not only every morning, it's also if you can do it every day before Mincha, we'll see just now, it's to cancel bad decree. In a book that's called Yeshuot Israel, it said that reading the Parashat Petom HaKetoret, it's a remedy for success and salvation. Now, Arav Moshe Steinbuch, you all hear about Arav Moshe Steinbuch. Arav Moshe Steinbuch wrote in his book Tshuvot ve'Anhagot, volume 1, okay, in page, I think 704, if I'm not mistaken. He said that when a person said the Ketoret, if he say it with melody, with the full kavana, it's those people that battling to have kids. It's a segula for those that want to have children, so they can have a children. That's Rav Moshe Steinbuch. And if they say it, then he repeat, and he say, but you have to say it twice a day. It's not enough only in the morning. The person have to say it at least twice a day. Rav Alexander Ziskin, he born 200 183 years ago in Belarus. He wrote the famous book, Yesod V'Shoresh HaAvodah, in chapter 5, verse 9. He said like this, that saying the Petoma Ketoret actually hurrying up the redemption of the Jewish people. In Midrash Tanhuma, and with that I'm going to end because there's many more versions. They said that in Midrash Tanhuma, okay, in Ot Tet Zayin, that means letters number 16, call it chapter 16, they say that a person that say the Ketoret, it's equivalent to sacrificing the spices. That means from here we see her favorite Parashat Ketoret in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The time that we should say Petoma Ketoret. Petoma Ketoret, the person should say it only during the day. We're not allowed to say it at night. Okay? You say it during the day, you never say it at night. Petoma Ketoret, you can say from after midnight until sunset. But during sunset, you can't say that. Only after midnight, you can start saying it. In Erev Shabbat, sometimes it's happened that, especially in winter, that it's become dark very quickly and you have to say it, you can still say Petoma Ketoret, but not on Motzei Shabbos, only on Friday night. Okay, now, how many times a day that we should say it? So the custom of the Sfaradim, to read Petoma Ketoret once when we read about all the sacrifices in Shaharit, the second time just before Alenu Leshabeach, and then just before we saying at Mincha Ashre, just before Mincha. The custom of the Ashkenazim, from what I see, that they say it once a day, when we say all the korbanot, when we say the sacrifices in the morning. Okay, so from here we see different opinion, but we see from here that Rav Steinbuch said that the person should say it at least twice a day if they're battling to have kids. So it's a remedy that people that battling to have kids. So until here we explain simply the idea and the virtue. When I say simply on according to the pshat of the Dvarim, what is the idea behind saying the Petoma Ketoret? But after all of that, we have to understand what's the secret behind it. Because just to say that it's a remedy for that, it's a remedy for that, but how's that remedy work? And why Dafka, the spices, the korban that we call the incense, that the Kohanim used to do lottery for it. A matter of fact, every Kohen wanted to merit to sacrifice that. You know why? Because he knew that he's going to be rich. So every Kohen wanted it. Why is it so important? Why we see that from all the sacrifices that there is, from all the sacrifice that there is, the spices came as a sacrifice or a parasha, we call it parasha today, that have a lot of remedy, a lot of secret behind. So Be'ezrat Hashem, today I'm going to bring one idea, and then I'm going to go even deeper later on what the mystical rabbi explained. So one of the idea is we have to understand, we say that one of the spices that we have amongst the 11 spices is the helbena. What is the helbena? Helbena, that's the galbanum. I don't know what is galbanum. Thank you, Mark. I don't know what is galbanum. I really don't know. Galbanum. Anyone have any idea what is galbanum? Mark, you know anything?
It's got a bad smell.
Obviously, it's a spice that has smells, and now we see what Rashi HaKadosh said. Rashi HaKadosh born in the city of Troyes in the north of France 982 years ago. And in his commentary to Parashat Ki Tisa, that we're going to read this coming Shabbos in chapter 30, verse 34, listen what he said. Helbena, usuk shel bosem sherehara. That means, Rashi said, that the helbena, the galbanon, it's a kind of a spice, but it has such a bad smell, terrible smell. It has a bad smell, terrible smell. And not only that, that Hazal say immediately, if that's what Rashi say, and Rashi explained, many of the commentary ask, wait, I don't understand. How come that amongst the 11 spices, we have to put a spice that the smell is terrible? It's actually beyond understanding. People can't smell it. If you slide that helbena by himself, it's terrible smell. Horrible, horrible, mamash horrible. So how come Hazal asking the commentary that you telling me amongst the other 10 spices, I'm putting a spice that is very smelly and its smell is actually terrible. So Rashi HaKadosh come and answer. Rashi HaKadosh say that the helbena, actually it represents Posh'ei Israel. What it means, Posh'ei Israel, I will explain shortly. Hazal come to teach us here a very important principle that cannot be a davening or gathering of the Jewish people without wicked people. Posh'ei Israel. And we'll explain now what is Posh'ei Israel. Posh'ei Israel, those are the very far, very, very far from our Holy Torah. That means sometimes we see Lo Aleinu, those Jewish people that full of tattoo from head to bottom. Not only that, they're full of earrings. Those that grown up in a kibbutzim in Eretz Israel, kibbutz, you know, that those that grown up in non-religious kibbutz doesn't know what is Shabbos, doesn't know what is Yom Tov, doesn't know what is Kashrut, doesn't know what is Taharat HaMishpacha. You talk to them, it's like you talk to them about aliens. They don't understand what you're talking about. So Hazal explained that Posh'ei Israel, that the helbena is parable to Posh'ei Israel. Those that far away from Yiddishkeit, that doesn't know even what is it. And Hazal tell us that the main reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told the Jewish people, you must put the helbona amongst the other 10, that the helbona will be the 11 spices, that you should learn from those Posh'ei Israel. I can learn from Posh'ei Israel. What can I learn from them? They don't know what is Shabbos. They don't know what is Yom Tov. They don't know what is Kashrut. They don't know Taharat HaMishpacha. They don't know nothing about Yiddishkeit. I must learn from them. Hazal say yes. What should I learn from them? Hazal say, when you take a person like this and you bring him to shul to daven, immediately you'll see that he's become very humble. Why? Because he doesn't know what you're talking about. He feels embarrassed. Why? Because he doesn't know what you're talking about. Doesn't know even how to daven. And Hazal come and tell us that you yourself that daven every day, that you daven in this shul, you daven in this shul, and sometimes you daven with this person that it's considered like a rabbi, the other one that considered is a mystical rabbi. You start having a bit of arrogancy inside you. Somewhere deep inside your heart, you have this arrogancy. Listen, I'm davening with those righteous people. Come Hazal and tell us. No, learn from that, Posh'ei Israel. That when he comes, he's embarrassed, he doesn't know. If you look at those that come once a year to shul, usually on Yom Tov, They don't find the legs or their feet or their head during the Yom Tov davening. So people have to help them, and nothing wrong with that. The opposite, we should bring them closer, we should do kiruv. But Hazal come and tell us that you should learn from them to be humble and modest. Why? Because by that you have a little bit of feeling like you're a tzaddik, like you can daven, you become arrogant. And one of the things that the Almighty cannot stand is arrogancy. When a person is arrogant, HaKadosh Baruch Hu can't be with him. And Hazal say in the Tanakh, "En ani v'hu darim b'mechitzah achad." That means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu say that him in a person that is arrogant and proud, him and they together cannot be together. That means HaKadosh Baruch Hu cannot be with a person that is arrogant. And Hazal come and tell us that the Helbena come to remind us when we sacrifice the spices during the time of Bet HaMikdash, and when we read the spices, to become humble and modest. That we should not gonna be proud. That's, we understand now why I have to be Helbona. But if we look at it, let's start to understand it in a deeper meaning, much, much deeper meaning. Hazal explained that we have to put the Helbena amongst the other 10. And Hazal explained to us, Rabotai, now I hope that you all sitting and you're putting your seatbelt. Well, one of the major things that people have chores in their life, that chores, when I say when they're battling with Parnasa, when people see that whatever they touch, nothing's moving. It's all because that they have arrogancy and proud. But I want to tell you a personal story that I have. I'm not going to mention him because you all know him. The person was very, very wealthy. And he was, a matter of fact, one of the big gvirim here in Joburg. And one of his weak character trait that he have a bit of arrogancy and proud. And he almost lost everything. Baruch Hashem, he didn't lose money, but he lost almost everything that he had. And when you ask him, he'll explain to you that was all because of his arrogancy and proud. He felt too much arrogant. He was talking to people like they're nothing. He was giving order to people like they're slave. That person, Rabotai, lo aleinu, one of his rectification that you have to do is galut. He gone to galut. So let's continue. Hazal tell us that when a person becomes very arrogant, that's what brings on him all the chores. The arrogancy and the proud, people ask, why do they have chores? Why do they have bad decree on them? Why nothing's working for them? It's because of arrogancy. And if you check every person that have chores, it's all because of arrogancy. Why should I give? Why should I do that? Who tell you what to tell me what to do? How can you tell me what to do? And etc. The arrogancy and the proud is the source to all the sorrows that the person have in his life. Not only that, is the source that Hazal explained that if it's not only sorrows, lo alenu, sometimes it brings sickness. And if not that, Hazal tell us, and that's what we say, Ve'im hiser ahat mikol samamanea hayav mita. Mark, you want to look for it? Ve'im hiser ahat mikol samamanea hayav mita. that if he miss one of...
If he left out any of its spices, he's liable to the death penalty.
What does it mean, the death penalty? As I'll explain, it's not necessarily physical punishment of death. It's also spiritual death. That person that can lose not only his life physically, spiritual death, that he doesn't know anymore anything about Yiddishkeit. He's starting to lose. And that's why we see Poshai Israel that Rashi says. What does it mean, Poshai Israel? Those that far away from the Torah. So, Chazal said, by that you read the spices, by that you understand that amongst the 10 spices that have a good smell, come the helbena. The helbena is a terrible smell. That it's parable to Poshai Israel. Come to tell you that you have to understand that all your chores come because of arrogancy. And if you're arrogant, you'll have chores. So what is the rectification for it? Modesty. A person should act with modesty, to be humble and modest. And that's what immediately can change his decree. Not only that, Hazal tell us that you should say it 3 times a day. Nachon, that Beit HaMikdash, they used to do it twice a day. We'll explain now why twice a day and what was the secret behind it. So the Sfardim, we say twice in Shach, and one, Ben Arbaim. Ben Arbaim, it's between Mincha to Mariv, what we call it today. That's Ben Arbaim, between the time that it's still day, but it's still not night yet. It's still a little bit, it's starting to get dark. What was so important about it? Hazal said that the main secret behind us is to teach us modesty. But we say that one of the remedy of the spices, or what we call it, incense, was, okay, is the helbena, to teach us modesty. Why? Hazal said that when the Kohen Gadol used to sacrifice it in the morning, he used to do atonement to all the averot that we done at night. And we used to sacrifice it again when? Ben Arbaim. That means to do atonement for all the averot that we done during the day. And now we can understand why Hazal tell us that you should read it at least twice a day. Once in the morning, once at night. One before night. To do atonement for all the averot that you done during the day. At Mincha, you say it. Ben Arbaim. When you start to daven Mincha, you say it. Why? Because that's going to do atonement to all the sin that you done during the day. And why do you have to say it in Shachrit? To all the sin that you done at night. So we see from here that one of the most important spices and one of the important korbanot that we have is the spices that Hazal teach us. And to do the spices, to read it, many of the people skip it. I don't know why. Why people skip it, I don't know. But a person has to understand that when a person has the ability to understand that the idea of the helbena come to teach us that we have no ability to do nothing in this life. You know, some people say, I built the business. You see, I have the wisdom. I wrote that program. I have this wisdom to do that. And that's how I brought the business. Come the Almighty and tell you, that's going to bring you to proud and arrogancy. And it's in every profession, in anything in life. That the power of the spices is to teach us to be modest. But we have to read it with kavanah. And when you read it with kavanah and you understand that amongst the 10 beautiful smelling spices, there is also helbana, that the smell is terrible. Why? That is to teach us modesty. When a person thinks, listen, I have no ability to do nothing. Everything that I have in this life, it's all from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The chokhmah that I have, the wisdom, is all from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. To wake up in the morning, it's from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the health. The wealth that I have is all from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if a person start to understand that, and he have a little bit of seichel, a little bit of kop to understand that, that's what will bring him to become modest and to be humble. Now that we understand a little bit, I really touched it on the top, really mamash kacha, mamash on the top, to understand the virtue, the remedy of reading the spices, what we call the incense, okay? And we understand that the source to all the problem that the person have in life is because his arrogance and pride. If it's health problem, if it's financial problem, anything that the person have, it's all because arrogancy and pride. So now, every morning when you daven, make sure that you're not skipping while you're reading the korbanot, or if you're not reading the korbanot, you should take on yourself to read the parasha of the spices, the incense. Because in the power of that, we explain all the virtue, like we explained earlier. A person can become rich. A person have that do atonement to him all of his averot. A person that, the couple that battling to have kids, read it with kavanah twice a day. They will have kids, as Rabbi Sternbuch say. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that from all the spices he loved, from all the korbanot, that's one of his favorite korban, one of his favorite sacrifice. That's the ketoret. Why? Because we're joining the Poshai Israel, okay, those that far from Yiddishkeit, to us. We mean that we're doing a unity, but it's to teach us modesty. Not only that, we saw what Hazal say, that the reading of the spices with kavanah can hurry up the redemption. And by Ezrat Hashem, that we should all merit to have this virtue and the character trait, okay? To become modest, to become humble, to work on ourselves, to love each other, okay? And that what will bring each one of us his own personal salvation. There is no one in this world that doesn't need personal salvation and personal help. That means that the ketoret can change bad decree on a human being. Bad judgment on a human being. This plague in the world, now that we have the corona, if everyone would say with full kavanah, Rabotai, the Parashat HaKetoret, we wouldn't have corona in the world. Where do we learn that? From Aaron HaKohen. That when Aaron HaKohen saw the plagues among the Jewish people, Vayamod ben HaMetim ve'ben HaHayim, that he took the spices and immediately ran and he stopped the plague. And he stood between those that was alive, those that was dead. So who that have a little bit kop in his brain, a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of chokhmah in his mind, not to read the Parashat HaKetoret slowly, with a bit of focus. So come 5 minutes earlier. Come 5 minutes earlier. Read the sacrifice. Read the korbanot b'shekel. That will lead you later on to have humble, to become modest, and to cancel all those bad decree that the person have. All the trouble that there is in this world come from arrogancy. Now you say, how can it be that a person from arrogancy? Because arrogancy is the source is the source to all the trouble, like we explained. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu cannot see a person, that's maybe even a light word to say. HaKadosh Baruch Hu can't be with a person that is arrogant. Why? Because he take his own crown. That person said when he become arrogant, he said, I made my business. I built my business. What did you build? Gornish mit Gornish. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't give you the wisdom, you wouldn't know where to start. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't give you the health, you couldn't wake up in the morning to go and open the door of your business. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't send you the client to come to buy that product, you wouldn't have a business. So what are you talking about? So when a person becomes arrogant, he basically saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I can share the crown from you with you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu say, if that's the case, I'll leave you alone. And when a person become alone, that's when all the chorus and the trouble come into him. And he doesn't know where it's coming, one after each other. It's like a snowball. It starts very small, but it grows so fast that he doesn't know. So it's come to teach us, Rabotai, the Pitoma Ketoret, come to teach us modesty and humbleness. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should work on that character trait, that each one of us will remember the Helbena, that have a bad smell, that we should not going to be arrogant, that we should not be proud, because nothing is in our hand. Everything is in the hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will see that we're working on our character trait, trying to be better people, trying to be modest, trying to be humble, and to take all of that from us, arrogancy that we have. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please God, will send us Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our day and build the third Bet HaMikdash. Amen. Ken Yeh Ratzon. Now I would like to give Shorim to those of you, I give time, sorry, not Shorim. I will give time for those of you that want to ask questions regarding the spices, Bechavot, those of you that want to ask.
Hello, it's Anthony. How are you?
Baruch Hashem, Antonio, how are you?
All right, thanks. Keeping well. Why do we say the incense and spices after Ein Keloheinu on Shabbos morning? Why dafka after Ein Keloheinu and before Aleinu?
Okay, so that's why we say twice. We have to say twice in the morning. That's the minhag of the Sfaradim. Okay, to say it twice. And the custom is also to say it, I explained Ben Arbaim. What it means Ben Arbaim? Just when we daven mincha, okay? Between mincha and Mari, okay? It's actually just before mincha. Why? Is to do atonement again. When you say it twice, it's to represent that twice a day they used to sacrifice the korban when Bet HaMikdash was exist. So here when we say it twice, it's like we're sacrificing the korban twice. And that we do in atonement, okay, to all the sin. The Seder, Anthony?
Okay, thanks very much.
Pleasure, pleasure. Any other question? Rabotai, Bechavod. Who else?
Hi, Rabbi.
Hello, how are you?
It's Adam. Hi. Good, thanks.
So
Thank
nice
you.
to see you.
Oh, beautiful show. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like just some notes on how to identify arrogance in ourselves. I think while you're talking, I'm thinking of all the people around me that are so arrogant, but then I realized now I should be thinking about myself.
The first thing that you have to think, don't think about other people. Think about yourself.
Of course.
And let me tell you, I need to speak about myself. I don't know, you old tzaddikim, I can speak about myself. It's enough that you think, because you have a beautiful voice, Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu giving you that beautiful voice that you can sing beautifully, as we all know. If you for a split of a second, using that beautiful voice that you receive from the Almighty to show off, it's arrogancy. You understand? Specifically for you. For me, for everyone else, if a doctor, if a lawyer, in any other profession, you know, that the person thinks that he is a great doctor, he's a great lawyer, okay, he's a great businessman, whatever you want to tell it, because he have it, because he done it, that's arrogancy. If a Talmid Chacham think that he have the wisdom because himself, that's arrogance. Not only that, that in a davening, we explain that sometimes people go and daven in this shoe, this one go to daven in this shoe. And a person should daven where he feels comfortable. But if for a split of a second, he think, look, I'm davening in this shoe because look here, everyone is a tzaddik here. Everyone in this shul is a Talmid Chacham. Everyone in this shul is a scholar person, is a wisdom. That's arrogancy. Why? Because you already comparing yourself to become a scholar person, a person that is a tzaddik, a person that his minimum is a rebbe, or one of the Kabbalistic rabbi that there is. So the arrogancy depends how you look at yourself. If you say, listen, Baruch Hashem, I have a beautiful voice because I got it from the Almighty. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell us, and Hazal tell us, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu giving you a beautiful voice, you must praise him with your beautiful voice. What does it mean, praise him with your beautiful voice? That thank him with your beautiful voice. He's giving you a beautiful voice, thank him. Don't take that and try to show that you have a beautiful voice. That means daven to him with beautiful voice. You're Hazan, sing and thanks HaKadosh Baruch Hu that given you the ability to daven and to sing to him.
Right. So, but I think what happens then is what I've always struggled with, because I'm so humble, is that I've always struggled with not giving full of what I can, because I don't want to be like that person. I don't want to come across as arrogant. And that's also a problem, because the difference between confidence and arrogance is what I've struggled with. Like, if I want to sing out loud and make it powerful and strong, because it feels like, you know, I get what you're saying. If I'm doing it because I want to show everyone, look at a wonderful voice I've got, that's arrogance. But if I'm not, and I want to sing out loud, it doesn't matter what people think. As long as I'm not, I'm doing it. You hear what I'm saying? It's that fine line, because we're not supposed to deny our abilities, right? But we have to say it's from our sin.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu, b'ma shehanan otcha, Hazal say, b'ma shehanan otcha, whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu given you, we say in Birkat Kohanim, נכון? יברכך השם וישמרך, נכון?
Right.
What's the second part? יאר פניו אליך ויחונקה, נכון? יישא השם פניו אליך וישם לך שלום. What does it mean? If הקדוש ברוך הוא חנן אותך, what does it mean חנן אותך? Given you that ability to have a beautiful voice, you must praise him all the time with your beautiful voice. But you must praise him, not that people will look at you and they say, you see this Hazan, have a beautiful voice. Not for that. You're praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu, say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, thank you. Thank you that you're giving me beautiful voice. I'm thanking you for that. That's why I'm singing all of these beautiful songs, so everyone can praise you.
Yeah, it's very difficult to do that.
It's a very fine line, very fine line. Why? One of the most difficult things of a Talmid Chacham that he has to work on himself. all the time. Because the Yetzer Hara that Talmid Chacham have, it's bigger than person that is not a Talmid Chacham. Why? Because now people coming to him for advice. People coming to him to paskin halacha. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So he's already feeling a little bit. But he have to understand that that wisdom, the same like he got it, can disappear. It's like a thin glass. Divrei Torah, say Shlomo HaMelech, listen to it. Kashim, it's very difficult to become a wisdom. Vekalim le'abdam. What does it mean, kalim le'abdam? Take a glass. It's when you do a special glass, you need to work on it very carefully. Special crystal glass. Oh, you have to work. You have to be professional. But once that you make that crystal glass, you have to look after it with cotton wool. Why? Because every small bang can break it. Hazal come and tell us that the wisdom person, if he doesn't work on himself, on his modesty, he's going to lose all of his Torah. Why? Because he's arrogant. And it's the same like a glass. It's the same with anything in life. And that's why Hazal tell us, Kol hagadol mehavero, yitzro gadol meno. As much that, sorry. Hazal tell us, as much that a person is a wisdom and righteous man, his evil inclination fighting with him, much more strong. One, because everyone walking, everyone giving him respect, and he might, for a split of a second, will take that respect and benefit from it. He lost everything. You know how hard is it? You know, a rabbi walk, everyone standing up. Now, they have to give you kavod, but you mustn't look at it like this. Do you know how difficult is it? So it's with everything in life. A person build a beautiful, beautiful business. He work day and night. And he make fortune of money, Adam. Fortune of money. You know what is it? He make a fortune of money. And the next thing you come and tell him, listen, it's not you. But he think that he wake up early in the morning, come late at night from work, you name it. And suddenly you tell him, listen, it's not you. You follow what I'm trying to say? So there's a very, very fine thin line.
Yeah, I think that would be my next question. How would you approach something with someone that's close to you and you want them to see this?
What do you mean by that? Be more specific. Just explain
like
to me.
If someone that's close to you, family member, that they got no interest in Yiddishkeit, don't want to know, they built the business, they did this, they did that, and things must go their way, you know, and you can see
my
it.
My way or the highway? What you're saying is my way or the highway?
Right.
It's very, very difficult. Very difficult. You have to do it with a lot of patience and a lot of seichel.
Yeah.
When I say patient, endless patience. Endless patience. Seichel, it's with a lot of wisdom. All the time, you have to work on yourself, because when you work on yourself, they look at you and they see how you behave. They look at you as they mirror. You understand? And if you behave a little bit with arrogancy, they're going to be full of arrogancy. You're going to be completely modest and humble, they're going to start dropping their arrogancy. And
yeah.
You follow?
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. When you're walking to a place that everyone shout and everyone scream, inevitably, it's push you to become one of them. Because everyone shout, everyone scream. But if you go to a place that everyone talks soft and patient, immediately, even if you're one of those that love to shout, you become one of them. It's the same with anything in life. The chokhmah is that you should be the leader and they should be the follower. B'makom she'en ish, ishtadel liot ish. When you see that people arrogant, when people full of themselves, excuse my language, you'll do exactly the opposite, 360 degrees. It's going to take a long time. You have to be patient, but you have to do it with a lot of chokhmah. And that you're going to be like this, they're going to look at you and they're going to follow you. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time. But that's how you can change everything. Because that you're modest, that you work on yourself, that can change everything. Because they say, listen, I'm all day telling him, listen, I build a business, I done. He keep quiet. He doesn't say nothing. And you start to work on their mind. Look at him, he's humble. But in the meantime, look what he achieved. He was, wherever he was, look where he put himself together and he building himself. That means, let's say that he was right down, okay, and they was all the time on the top, and suddenly you're starting to climb. So that means that the gap between you not become so anymore far. And there is no more competition. And if they see that there's no more competition, they say to themselves, why am I saying all the time, I done it, the eye doctor, I. They're going to stop saying it. And when they're going to stop with the eye doctor, they're going to start now to change. And everything going to go down. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give a person a peak to go to the peak. After the peak, it's going to be a slide down. You understand what I'm saying? The chokhmah is that you should be the modest. You should have the wisdom not to fall to that trap. Because it's very difficult not to fall to that trap of arrogancy. And one last thing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he chose the leader to the Jewish people, who did he choose? Moshe Rabbeinu, nachon? Hazal tell us, Ve'aish Moshe anav me'od. And Moses, I'll translate it, and the man Moses, listen to the word, Aish. Moshe anav me'od. He wasn't only a man, the man Moses, he was the man Moses that was humble, very humble. Not only humble, very humble. Why is it so important that he was very humble? It's come to tell you that it's not enough to be humble. You have to work on yourself, to work on yourself, and to work on yourself to be very, very humble, but to be a man. Because these people that pretend that they're humble, but they're not men. They're not humble. And the front of everyone is very nice, very gentle. But inside himself, if you just do something wrong for him, you'll see how humble he is. A full mouth he'll give you.
And also maybe it would also maybe to me what came to mind is by becoming humble, you're becoming smaller, but you're still a man. You're still maintaining, you're still doing what you believe is right and still standing up for yourself. It's not that you're like, oh, I'm nothing.
You see, Hazal tell us, in Hazal, in Masechet Avot, in the Mishnah Masechet Avot, Al tistakel b'kalkal, ela b'ma sheyesh bo. Don't look at the jar on the outside. Look what there is inside. In English, you usually call it, don't look at the cover of the book. That's what you usually say. Look at the cover of the book. Look what there is inside. It doesn't make a difference if you're a brass or you're not a brass. In the eyes of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, what there is here in the heart. Hazal in the Gemara tell us a story that one of the sages' son passed away. And then he davened for him and he brought him alive. So when he come back alive, they done the resurrection of the dead to them. His father asked him, Bni, ma ra'ita? He said to him, son, he said to his son, my son, what did you see? When he said, what did you see? What did you see up in heaven? He said, Olam hafuch ra'iti. I saw an upside down world. What did it mean, upside down world? He said, Olam hafuch ra'iti. He said, no. The father tell him, you saw the straight world, not upside down. What does it mean? He saw that those people that here on earth, that was living here, oh, they got covered, everyone spoke about them. Up in heaven, you couldn't see them. But those that was humble and no one spoke about them, you know, that done everything quietly, up in heaven, they were sitting in the front row. Those that receive all the covered in this world, you couldn't see them because they were sitting so high up. You couldn't see them. And that's what important. And if you remember it every day, that will change your life. And that's why the first thing that we say in the morning just came to me now. What do you say every morning? Sorry, every morning when we wake up. Modeh ani lefanecha. Nachon? What does it mean, modeh ani? I thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nachon? Melech el Chai v'Kram she'achzarta bi nishmati. That you brought me back my soul. That without that energy, in our terms, without this energy, I couldn't get up. I couldn't do nothing. Analogy, when a person wake up in the morning, Has v'shalom, lo yakum v'lo yeh, and none of the Jewish people, if he have a migraine or have a diarrhea, he can be the best smart businessman. He can't do nothing. Nachon?
Yeah.
He can't even sit to send a message. Because every minute running, the brain is bombarding.
Yeah.
So if we think like this, every split second, to thank Sakadosh Baruch Hu for the good and for the bad that we're getting, and to say to ourselves, I got bad, I deserve it. I didn't get punished. I got good lesson. Many people take the bad and say it's a bad thing. No, it's a good thing. Because without that lesson, how are you going to grow up? When a child is naughty, okay, today you can't give a pots and a tochas. If you give a pots and a tochas, the police is going to be on your doorstep. But you understand what I'm saying? But when a child naughty, you have to put them on his place. It's not a punishment. It's to help him to grow up straight. And that's what's hiding behind it. I hope that I put everything in right proportion for you, Adam.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. I remember reading once that, like, you know, we see the world upside down, our eye. Literally.
Nachon? Nachon. You're 100% right. Yeah. And that's where we've gone wrong. Because everything in our life, what's important in this life, and what's not important in this life, everything turned upside down. Look, the most important thing today in life, Hazal tell us already, just before the Mashiach come, the biggest challenge that the people will have, guilt. And people today destroying other people because of money. HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Rosh Hashanah already said how much money you'll make this year, how much money you'll make this year. and people willing to kill, people willing to do strange things for money. And they don't understand it's not in their hand. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised how much he will give you. So it's not going to change if you steal or if you're not going to steal. You have to work on your values. And if you work on those, and you remember that everything is from the Almighty, you'll be happy. And if you'll be happy, and you'll accept everything from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's nothing to worry. And Hazal say, Ezehu ha'ashir hasameach b'chelko. Beseder, Adam? I hope that I put things, I hope that I put it properly and explain it.
Wonderful, thank you.
Good, good. Any other question, Rabotai? There's any other question?
Rav?
Yes, Bechavod?
Sean speaking.
Shalom Aleichem, Shoni, how are you?
Baruch Hashem, and you?
It's so beautiful to hear you, thank you. Yes, Bechavod, Shoni.
Okay.
Bechavod.
You said, excuse me, there's atonement with a ketoret in the morning and in the afternoon, right? When we say the pashut, the parashat, right?
Parashat
now,
Petoma Ketoret, yes.
Correct. Now, but we also say tachanun, right?
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the two?
Oh, very good question. You see, what's the difference between them? The one is a remedy, is a virtue. Tahanun, you're actually saying, in Tahanun, you're actually saying what you done wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Sean,
yes.
Are you with me?
In
Tahanun, you say what you done wrong. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
Doing proper atonement. But when you read the Ketoret, you don't say that you done anything wrong. You just have to say it with Kavana, and that will help you to do the complete atonement. That means that the Tahanun and Petoma Ketoret can change everything. Because why? Because part, and that's the most important, part of the Tahanun is to admit where I was wrong. And that's what we say, Hatati, Aviti, Pashati. You understand what I'm saying? That I sin, that I done something wrong. Because if you're not going to say it, so how you know that you done something wrong? You have to say it in your own mouth. And you have to mean it. And when you read the Petoma Ketoret, that will change completely everything. But you have to read Petoma Ketoret with Kavana, word by word.
Okay, thanks, Rob.
You understand where I'm coming from?
I do. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, pleasure. Any other question? No? Okay, Rabota, if you don't have any more questions, I would like to take the opportunity to wish you all a Shavua Tov, a beautiful week. Hope to see you again. I hope that you enjoyed the shiur, but I hope to see you again on Thursday night for Parshat HaShavua, Be'ezrat Hashem. Dr. Les.
Rav, on Thursday, I won't be able to join you. I'm going to London, actually, for a stamp exhibition. So I'll be away.
How long are you going to be in London? How long are you going to be in London?
A week and a half. But I hope to meet with survivors there. I'm hoping to meet with survivors.
Okay, no, Baruch Hashem. And I hope to meet you in March, because Be'ezrat Hashem,
oh, wonderful.
I'll be in Israel in March, in the middle of March, just before Purim, a day before Purim, I will arrive. But I'll be with you. I'm going to obviously be in touch with you, with Stephen, with everyone. Be'ezrat Hashem, I would like to see you all, Be'ezrat Hashem. And to take the opportunity to wish you a good trip. I don't know where is Jeffrey. Jeffrey's not with us tonight. I would like to wish him a Nesiat Tova, because he's flying to Israel on Tuesday. to wish him Nesiat Tova, but he's not with us. To take the opportunity to wish all of you a great week, a wonderful week. Look after yourself. Hope to see you again on Thursday night. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.